The Philippines are a country that is often called the last paradise of Asia, but is it really so? This material is not just criticism, but an honest look from the inside. We will analyze the 10 reasons why the Philippines can disappoint even experienced travelers, from dangerous logistics and unsanitary conditions to destroyed beaches and cultural shock. Knowing underwater stones will help to make a balanced decision. Is it worth the game of candles, or is it better to choose a more comfortable direction? Are you ready for undivided truth? Then we start. First point, dangerous logistics 1. Long and uncomfortable flights. The Philippines consist of more than 7,000 islands, but international flights arrive in just a few large cities, most often in Manila or Cebu. If your resort is on another island, you will have to make a transplant to local airlines or ferries. The problem with tickets, there are almost no direct flights from Europe or America. At least one transplant is usually required, often in Dubai, Singapore, or Hong Kong. The total travel time may exceed 20 hours. High cost of flights. Ticket prices in the high season, from December to April, can be 2 times higher than in neighboring countries, for example, Thailand or Vietnam. Flight delays. Local airlines, for example, Cebu Pacific, often cancel or transfer departures without warning. 2. Bad roads and dangerous crossings. Even in large cities, the quality of roads leaves much to be desired. Traffic jams in Manila, the capital of the Philippines, is included in the top piper of cities with the worst traffic jams in the world. The trip, which should take 30 minutes on the map, can stretch for 3 hours. Dangerous intercity routes. In the provinces of the road are often broken, there are no normal roadsides, and in the rainy season they simply erodes them. Local drivers go extremely inaccurately. Accidents happen daily. Night crossing is risky. If you decide to save and go by bus at night, be prepared for the fact that the driver can be drunk or overwork. 3. Chaotic and uncomfortable transport. Public transport in the Philippines is a lottery. Jeepney, local minibuses, old, crowded, without air conditioners. Drivers often stop anywhere, creating traffic jams. Tricycles, mototaxi, cramped, slow, and high prices for tourists. Ferries and boats. Many ships are in poor condition, overloaded, and safety rules are ignored. Conclusion: if you are used to convenient infrastructure, as in Japan or Europe, the Philippines will disappoint you. The transport system here is uncomfortable, slow, and sometimes dangerous. Second point, security problems. High crime, fraud, terrorist threats. 1. High crime in cities. The Philippines are not the safest country for tourists. According to international ratings, the level of street crime is higher than in Thailand, Vietnam, or Malaysia. Pocket thefts and robberies. In Manila, Cebu, and other tourist zones, the theft of bags, phones, and cameras are common. It is especially dangerous in crowded places, such as markets, bus stations, and ferry terminals. Robbery attacks. In poor areas, for example, in the slums of Tanda in Manila, tourists can rob even in broad daylight. Taxi station. Drivers often refuse to turn on the counter, overstate prices 10 times, or carry passengers in a circular way. 2. Tourism fraud. Many local residents see a walking wallet in foreigners and come up with various schemes of fraud. Fake travel agents. On the internet and on the streets they offer cheap tours, ferry tickets, or excursions, but after payment they disappear. Deception in hotels and guest houses. By booking housing through local sites, you may encounter the fact that the number does not correspond to the photo, and the money is not returned for the reservation. Friendly fellow travelers. In a bar or on the beach, a pleasant interlocutor, who then adds drugs in the drink and cleans your things, can get hooked on you. 3. Terrorist threats and abduction. Some of the regions of the Philippines are considered zones of increased risk due to the activities of Islamist groups and rebels. Dangerous islands. In the south of the country, Mindanao, Sulu, Basilan, attacks of militants, abduction of foreigners, and shootout regularly occur. MIDS, USA, Great Britain, Australia, and other countries officially recommend their citizens to avoid traveling to these areas. Cybercrime. In tourist zones, cases of hacking bank cards through fake ATMs and wifists have become more frequent. 4. Police and legal system. Even if you have become a victim of a crime, you should not count on quick help. Corruption in the police. Instead of investigation, you may be offered to resolve the issue for a bribe. Language barrier. Most lawyers do not speak English, and it is extremely difficult to make an application. The bias of foreigners. In conflict situations, local authorities often take the side of their citizens. Conclusion: if you are used to traveling without unnecessary stress, the Philippines are not the best choice. Even in popular resort areas, you need to constantly monitor things, avoid night walks alone, and carefully check any offers of profitable transactions. Third point: antisanitaria and illnesses. Dirty beaches, risk of dengue fever and food poisoning. 1. Problems with hygiene in public places. The Philippines are faced with serious challenges in the field of sanitation, which is especially noticeable to tourists from developed countries. Street dirt and garbage. In many cities, including tourist, garbage heaps on the sidewalks are a common occurrence. The centralized cleaning system is practically absent. Sewerage and wastewater. In resort areas, you can often see how the waste of life merges directly into the sea. Public toilets. In 9 out of 10 cases they will be dirty, without toilet paper and with an unpleasant odor. 2. Dangerous diseases threatening tourists. The tropical climate creates ideal conditions for the spread of infections. Dengue fever. Tens of thousands of cases are recorded annually. Peak of incidence from June to November. Carriers of mosquitoes, active even during the day. Malaria. Although the risk is lower than in Africa, in remote areas, especially in the Palawan and Mindanao, the danger remains. Leptospirosis, a bacterial infection transmitted through dirty water, often occurs after floods. Rabies. Wandering dogs and monkeys can be carriers. In the case of a bite, urgent vaccination is required. 3. Food poisoning and risks of nutrition. The local cuisine is delicious, but the stomach of an unusual person may not stand. Street food. Barbecue kebabs sold on every corner are often prepared in unsanitary conditions and can cause severe poisoning. Water and drinks. Ice in bars is often made of tap water. Raw vegetables and fruits can be washed in contaminated water. Seafood. In the heat they quickly deteriorate. Seafood poisoning is one of the most common problems among tourists. For medical service for foreigners. If you are still sick, get ready for difficulties. Quality of clinics. Outside the Manila and Cebu, medical institutions often do not comply with international standards. The cost of treatment. A visit to a doctor can cost several $100s. Insurance of many countries does not cover treatment in the Philippines in full. Pharmacies. Many drugs are sold without a prescription, but their quality can cause questions. Fakes are often found. 5. Beaches and marine environment. Even in famous resort areas there are problems. Sea garbage, plastic waste often nates to the shore, especially in the rain season. Coral reefs. Many of them are damaged or bleached from mass tourism and climate change. Sea hedgehogs and jellyfish. Not which areas. For example, in Boracay, they pose a real danger to swimsuers. Conclusion: the Philippines require special precautions in terms of health. Vaccinations before the trip, careful hygiene, refusal of street food, and buying high-quality medical insurance are required. It is better for people with chronic diseases to consider other areas for relaxation. The fourth point: high cost with low quality, prices as in developed countries, and service and infrastructure. No. 1. Unreasonably high prices for basic services. The Philippines are positioned as a budget direction, but reality disappoints many travelers. Accommodation. A decent room in a 3-star hotel in a tourist area costs from $80 to $120 per night, as in Thailand or Malaysia, but the quality of service and cleanliness is noticeably worse. Transport. Internal flights between islands are often more expensive than international flights to neighboring countries. One-way ticket can reach $150 per hour of flight. Excursions. Prices are overstated 2 times compared to local prices. Popular tours, for example, to Chocolate Hills on Bacol, will cost $6,000 per person for the basic program. 2. Problems with infrastructure. For big money having paid a solid amount, tourists often face the inconsistency of expectations. Resort zones. For $150 per night you can get a condition with air conditioning, which works poorly, unstable Wi-Fi and interruptions in water. Beach resorts. Sunbeds and umbrellas are often rented for $10–15 a day, although in Indonesia or Vietnam this is usually free. Electricity. In many areas, frequent shutdown of light, but hotels do not make discounts for inconvenience. 3. Hidden payments and travel taxes. The Philippines are a champion in unexpected additional fees. Airport fees: when departing from domestic flights, they take from $10 to $20, from international, about $30–$5. Resort taxes: in popular places, like Boracay, they charge a daily resort tax of $5,000 per person. Mandatory tips: in many institutions, 10–15% to the account automatically add, although the service does not deserve this. For low quality for the same money, direct comparisons with neighboring countries are especially disappointed. Food: a restaurant dinner for two with seafood will cost a magpie dollars, but the quality of the products will be lower than for the same money in Vietnam. Diving: one immersion costs from $30–$5 to $50, but the equipment is often old, and the guides are inexperienced. Shopping: local production souvenirs and clothing unreasonably roads with rather low quality. 5. Currency deception and financial traps: tourists regularly face fraud in calculations. Currency exchange: at unofficial points, the course is underestimated by 10–15%, especially when the exchange of large bills. ATMs: many rent an additional fee for the transaction, up to $5, and some completely swallow cards. Credit cards: in small institutions, they often add 5–7% to the amount of payment by card. Conclusion: the Philippines are a case when you have to overpay for a comfortable rest without getting appropriate quality. With the same budgets, Thailand, Vietnam or Malaysia offer a significantly better service and infrastructure. If you are still going to the Philippines, get ready for unjustified expenses and take with you a stock of money for unforeseen expenses. 5th point: climate and natural disasters: suffocating heat, typhoons, and floods. 1. Extreme weather conditions: all year round the Philippines are in the zone of the tropical climate, which creates constant discomfort for unhappy tourists. The temperature regime: even in the cool season, from December to February, the thermometer rarely drops below 20–8 degrees in the afternoon. In the hot months, April–May, the temperature reaches 30–5–8 degrees with 100% humidity. The rainy season, from June to October, showers go almost daily, turning many streets into mud rivers. Precipitation can last several days without a break. Moisture level: constant humidity 80–90% makes a stay on the street especially exhausting. 2. Regular spontaneous disasters: the Philippines are included in the 3 most prone to natural disasters in the world. Typhoons: annually, through the archipelago, on average 20 tropical cyclones passes, of which 80 yields reach destructive power. The most powerful, Typhoon Haiyan, 2013 years, more than 6,000 people died. Typhoon Mangkhut, 2018 years, the damage exceeded $250 million. Flooding: in the rainy season, water in cities can rise 2 meters in a matter of hours. Manila and low-powered areas are especially suffering. Earthquakes: about 20 tangible underground shocks are recorded annually. In the 2019 year, the earthquake of magnitude 6, as many as 9 points, destroyed many buildings on the island of Mindanao. 3. The consequences for tourists: natural disasters significantly affect the quality of rest. Abstract flights: in the season of typhoons, of the delay of air traffic, they can reach several days. Closed resorts: after strong storms, many beaches, including the famous Boracay, are closed for weeks to clean the garbage and restore infrastructure. Danger: in 2020 first year, 2 foreign tourists died during a sudden flood on Cebu. 4. Problems with acclimatization: even healthy people often face serious ailments. Heat blows: every season dozens of tourists fall into hospitals due to overheating. Dehydration: in conditions of heat and humidity, the body loses to 3–4 liters of fluid per day. Skin diseases: fungal infections develop instantly due to constant humidity. 5. Limited high season: a comfortable visit for visiting is extremely short. A narrow temporary window: pooply favorable weather is only from the end of December to mid-February. Peak prices: during this period, the cost of living increases by 1.5 days. Crowded resorts: the best beaches in the season resemble human anthill. Conclusion: the climate of the Philippines is a serious test even for experienced travelers. If you do not tolerate the heat and humidity or are afraid of natural disasters, it is better to choose a more predictable direction for relaxation. Those who still decide to travel should carefully plan the dates of the trip, December Brazil, and always have a backup plan in case of bad weather. 6th point: disappointment in the beaches: overvalued places with garbage, crowds and destroyed corals. 1. Famous beaches that do not meet expectations. Many advertised resorts are very losing to competitors in neighboring countries. Boracay, after the reconstruction, 2018 years lost part of his attractiveness. The main beach of Whitefic now, crowded with tourists, up to 15,000 people daily at the peak of the season, forced by sunbeds every 3 meters, has a noticeably thinned palm grove. Palawan, El Nido and Kring suffer from garbage after daily boat tours, damaged corals due to uncontrolled snorkeling, puffed water in the dry season. 2. Problems with cleanliness and ecology. Environmental problems are becoming more obvious. Plastic pollution. According to ecologists, up to 500 tons of garbage is washed off daily on the Philippine beaches in the rainy season. Sewage sewers. Many economy-class hotels drain waste directly into the sea. Lack of cleaning. On less popular beaches, garbage can lie without cleaning for weeks. 3. Overpopulation and noise. It is extremely difficult to find silence and solitude. Board traffic. In popular bays, up to 50 boats with tourists can be located simultaneously. Night parties. On many beaches, music plays until 4 in the morning. Obsessive sellers. Every 10 minutes they will approach you to offer massage, souvenirs, excursions, ongoing and drinks. 4. Destruction of the marine ecosystem. The underwater world is rapidly degrading. Damaged corals. According to scientists, about 60% of reefs are already seriously damaged. The disappearing fauna. Turtles and dugoni leave the usual habitats. Illegal fishing. The use of dynamite and cyanide continues, despite the prohibitions. 5. Alternatives that are no better. Hidden, untouched beaches are often disappointed. Problems with access. To get to secluded places, you need to spend 4 to 6 o'clock on a boat, from 1 to 2,000 pesos for transport. Lack of infrastructure. No toilets, drinking water, rescuers, sun protection, dangerous currents. Many wild beaches have dangerous underwater trends. 6. Comparison with neighboring countries. The Philippines noticeably lose to competitors. Thailand, better developed infrastructure. Malaysia, strict eco-control. Indonesia, more preserved coral reefs. Vietnam, cleaner beaches at comparable prices. Conclusion. If you dream of paradise beaches with white sand and crystal water without crowds of tourists, modern Philippines will disappoint you. The best times of the Philippine resorts have remained in the past, and the current state of the beaches often does not justify either cash costs or a long flight. For a beach holiday, it is better to consider less promoted directions in the same region. 7th point, bureaucracy and corruption, visa difficulties, police requisitions, and unpredictable laws. 1. Visa chaos for tourists. The Philippine visa system is a real test for nerves. Sudden changes in the rules. In 2023 year, the authorities 3 times changed the conditions of visa-free entry, leaving thousands of tourists in ignorance. Non-visa requirements. Citizens of 70-5 countries can enter without a visa for 30 days, but the extension turns into a quest. For visits to the immigration office are required 6 different documents, payment of fees in 3 different cash desks. The arbitrariness of officials. In one office they may require a certificate of vaccinations, in the other, no. 2. Police arbitrariness on the roads. Road checks are a way to replenish your pockets. Fake fines. Tourists in rented cars often write out non-existent violations. Simplified payment system. On the spot they propose to solve the issue for 500 of peso, 1,000 time dollars. Documents checks can be detained for a 3-4 hours for no reason. 3. Corruption in government agencies. Briefs have become part of the system. Customs, for the accelerated search, they ask for $50 to $100. Local authorities, permission for business activity is obtained only through intermediaries. Courts, consideration of the cases of foreigners can be delayed for months. 4. Legal uncertainty. Laws apply selectively. Anti-drug campaign. From 2016 years, over 12,000 people died, including random tourists. Lays on alcohol. In some provinces there are dry laws that are not warned about. Internet censorship. Social networks can block without explanation. 5. The consequences for travelers. Each foreigner is a potential source of income. Immigration delays. When leaving, they may require evidence of all movements around the country. Property confiscation. Drones, medicines, electronics are often removed without decoration. Blackmail deportation. For minor violations they offer to solve the issue for several $100s. 6. Comparison with neighbors. The Philippines stand out even in the problem region. Vietnam, clear rules, minimal corruption at the tourist level. Thailand, a debugged visa system for tourists. Malaysia, predictable legal system. Conclusion: the Philippine bureaucratic machine turns simple procedures into many hours of torment. Corruption permeates all levels, from a policeman on a corner to ministerial offices. Travelers should think about 10 times whether they are ready for constant stress from interaction with Philippine officials and law enforcement officers. 8th point, limited diving and ecotourism, destroyed reefs and mass tourism. 1. The decline of the underwater world. The Philippines lose the main natural heritage, coral reefs. Statistics of destruction: more than 60% of reefs are damaged. Degradation rate: 30% annually in popular points, like Tube, up to 40% of corals are dead. Causes of disaster: dynamic fishing, annually fixed up to 200 cases. Illegal collection of corals for souvenirs. Chemical pollution from resort areas. 2. Problems for divers. Professionals are disappointed with the current state of dive sites. Overpopulated locations: up to 20 boats are simultaneously operating on popular reefs. Visibility often does not exceed 5 seated meters. Dangerous conditions: strong currents without warning signs. Outdated rental equipment. Guides with dubious qualifications. Overstated prices: one immersion costs from $30-5 to $50. The quality does not correspond to the cost. 3. Ecotourism as an advertising myth. Green initiatives exist only on paper. Pseudo-recruiters, entrance ticket to preserve nature, $5,000. In fact, money goes to the pockets of officials. Fake eco-strongers, use plastic under the guise of processed materials, do not have wastewater treatment systems. 4. Alternatives that disappear. The last untouched places are threatened. Island Oppo: in 5 years, I lost 30% of the ship's coating. Garbage dumps appeared behind the reef. Strait of Isla Verde: the number of fish has been declining 3 times. Cases of theft of equipment have become more frequent. 5. Comparison with neighbors. Regional competitors win in all respects. Indonesia, Raja Ampat: the best. Safety of reefs, strict control over divers. Malaysia, Sipman: limited access, 120 permits per day. Professional protection of the territory. Conclusion: the Philippines can no longer be considered a mecca for divers. Mass tourism, corruption, and a negligent attitude to nature destroyed what lovers of the underwater world went here. Serious divers should be considered other areas in Asia, where the ecosystems are still preserved. 9th paragraph, low level of service, unjustified expectations and cultural differences. 1. Hotel business: stars are not equal to quality. Hotel ratings often are not true. 3-star hotels: air conditioners work 12 hours a day. Cleaning is carried out every other day, even with daily payment. Breakfast is turned on only nominally, sandwich plus coffee. 5-star resorts cost from $250 per night. The level of service corresponds to 34 stars in Thailand. Supplement for all additional services: pool towels, $5. 2. Restaurant service: eternal expectation. Features of the local mentality: the average order feed time is 4,560 minutes in 7 out of 10 cases. The wrong drink is brought. The score is brought only after 34 reminders. Minutes in the Philippine sense is 1,520 real minutes. 3. Transport services: non-launching is the norm. The schedule exists only formally. Buses are delayed in 90% of cases, from 40 minutes to 2 hours. Internal flights are delayed in 60% of cases. Ferries can be transferred without notice. 4. Tourism services: deception as a system. Common schemes: the substitution of the excursion program, the declared 8-hour tour is reduced to 5 hours. Hidden payments: surcharge $1,015 for entering the reserve, fake guides without a license, 40% of cases in popular resorts. 5. Language barrier: English is only visibility. Only 20% of personnel understand complex requests. The menu of 50% of the establishments contains gross translation errors. In emergency cases, The translator will be required in 80% of situations. 6. Mental differences in the understanding of the service. Cultural features. Yes may mean no, they are afraid to upset the guest. A smile does not always mean friendliness. The concept of urgent is absent in mentality. 7. Comparison with neighboring countries. The Philippines are noticeably behind Thailand. The service is 2 times faster at the same prices. Vietnam, a more responsible attitude towards tourists. Malaysia, higher personnel qualifications. The 10th point, cultural shock, poverty, obsession, and lack of personal space. 1. Shocking poverty in everyday life. The reality hid tourist booklets. City slums. In Manila, about 4 million people live in overpopulated quarters without sewage. Children's poverty. Every third child under 10 years old is forced to earn extra money on the streets. Local salaries. The average income is only $250 per month, which explains the obsessive service. 2. The intrusive behavior of local residents. The tourist is perceived exclusively as a source of income. Constant beggars. In tourist zones you will be approached every 5-7 minutes. Aggressive sellers. Refusing to purchase is more difficult than purchasing goods. Fake guides. Every 5th offer of the guide has no license. 3. Lack of the concept of personal space. Cultural differences that irritate Europeans. Tactile contact. They can touch the hand, pat on the shoulder without permission. Close distance. During conversation, they are close, less than half a meter. Correspondence, without knocking. Go into the room if the door is not locked. 4. Noise pollution. There is no silence even at night. Street noises, loud music until 2 in the morning of the night. Religious events. Morning masses begin at 5 in the morning with amplifiers. Transport. Drivers be alarmed for no reason every 30 minutes. 5. Gender stereotypes. Features that will surprise modern tourists. Women madanaki, permanent offers of company from local men. Ugpunavans, paradox with external tolerance or possible hidden ridicule. Older tourists, excessive custody bordering on unceremoniality. 6. Religious fanaticism. Catholicism defines all aspects of life. Sunday restrictions. In some cities, all entertainment institutions are closed. Abortion and contraception, completely prohibited. Pharmacies hide condoms. Gay clubs exist only underground, despite the visible tolerance. 7. Comparison with neighboring cultures. The Philippines stand out even in the region. Indonesia, more restrained behavior of local. Thailand, a clear separation of tourist and local zones. Vietnam, less obsession while maintaining friendliness. Conclusion. The Philippines are a country of extremes where luxurious resorts are adjacent to shocking poverty, and ostentatious friendliness masks mercantile interests. Cultural shock here is inevitable even for experienced travelers. If you are sensitive to personal space, social inequality and intrusive service, think about 10 times before choosing this country for relaxation. Conclusion. The Philippines are not a place for those who value quality service. Here you need to be prepared for constant delays, inconsistency of expectations and the need to repeat your requests repeatedly. If comfort and predictability are important to you, it is better to choose another direction in Southeast Asia. Conclusion. Should I go to the Philippines? The Philippines are a country of contrasts, where amazing nature is adjacent to a chaotic infrastructure, and sincere hospitality with obsessive mercantilism. If you are ready to put up with long flights, unsanitary conditions, crowded beaches, bureaucracy and constant cultural shock, you will find here paradise corners, a unique underwater world, and an original culture. But is it worth it? Compared with neighboring countries, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia or Indonesia, the Philippines lose in many respects. More expensive at the worst, service more dangerous because of a high level of crime and corruption, less convenient for independent travelers, mass tourism, destroyed reefs, dirty beaches, were more affected. Who should the Philippines consider? Experienced travelers who have already studied other Asian countries. Divers, ready to look for surviving places for diving. Those who are important with the English-speaking environment, but not the quality of the service. Who is better to choose another direction? Those who appreciate comfort and predictability, families with children, due to unsanitary conditions and security, budget tourists, prices are higher than in Vietnam or Thailand. Final verdict: the Philippines are not for everyone. If you are patient, are ready for adventures and do not disappoint when reality does not coincide with advertising photos, perhaps this country will surprise you. But if you expect a comfortable, safe, and carefree rest in Southeast Asia, there are much more convenient options. Travel consciously. Do not forget about the useful services that we indicate in the fixed comments. Subscribe to the channel, like it. Good rest for everyone.